Welcome to Cannon Productions. My name is Aaron Harrison. Today I'm with
Christopher Oglesby, or Coach O as I'm better known in Claxton.
today Coach O. He is the head track and field coach for the boys and girls at Claxton High School. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I came to Claxton 2017. I was at Statesboro High, and the head coach resigned, and I came to Claxton to coach football, and I was also interested in coaching track, and in 2018 I became the head track coach, and it's just been a great journey from that time until now. Just seeing so many kids, reach their potential on the track and football field. But I'm a native of Statesboro, Georgia, graduate of Georgia Southern University. So, Claxton isn't home, but it's like home to me.
Absolutely. So you said you didn't start coaching track until later on. So what exactly led to you taking over as track? Is that something that you kind of had in mind as you came to Claxton, or was that just like it was offered to you, or you saw the position and you later decided to take it?
It was something that was like offered to me, but also it was something that I was interested in. And my master's degree was in kinesiology, and I love the physiology element of the sport, like
Right.
body movement, motion. I love all of that type of stuff, and the attention to details that comes with the development and growth in track. So that's the main reason I kind of started coaching track. And also I love to help kids who, certain sports you don't get to see that immediate growth like you do in track from working hard. Like basketball, it can take a long time.
Right.
And if you really don't have the skills, you're really not going to be good at basketball. Or same can be said for football. But track, I feel like I can almost take anybody as long as they desire to work and kind of find a spot for them. I mean, we have 18 different events, so I try to do my best to help every person figure out what would be good for them out here if they would like to participate in the sport.
Absolutely. So you talk about growth. So since you've been coaching since you said 2018, right?
Yeah.
What kind of growth have you seen throughout the program?
We've been top in the region a few times. We won region twice. We finished in the top 5 in state multiple times. This year, our girls are projected to. It's very highly likely that they'll win state. And the funny thing is, I don't think anybody really sees this coming, but it's definitely, just looking at the numbers, looking at some of the best PRs out there, we have the top athletes in 6 different events. So it's going to be definitely a good time coming here pretty soon in May. But that'll be the ultimate growth that I've seen. We've had a few athletes go on to college and participate in college. So just seeing that growth and seeing the participation numbers grow. When I was first here, I think there were only like a total of 12 athletes or 14 athletes out there. Last season we had 55. This season I have about 40. So, just seeing that growth and seeing, athletes who are interested in working hard. And I always tell athletes that this is the one sport where it is about you. Most sports is not about you, but track is kind of different. Nobody's helping you run when you're in between those lines. Nobody's helping you jump. It's kind of all about you and the work that you put in. And then when you put in the work, you see that immediate, results,
Right.
PR and doing your best. That, I just love to see that when athletes kind of struggle with whether this is something for them, and they push through, and then they find out, man, this is the best decision I could have made, was to do this. And I found out so much stuff about myself personally, and I like to see that growth too. It's not just about the sport, but it's a life lesson to challenge yourself and to push forward and to see that personal growth. And I hope that the athletes would take their experience with track and take that into their careers, or whatever it is they desire to do in life.
You mentioned that the girls may not be expected to win state. Why do you say that?
Well, I just don't think. I think we're flying under the radar. In the way track works, it kind of goes off of who has the most elites, pretty much. Probably any sport, but it's a numbers game. And while we don't have a large number of girls, the percentage of our girls that I would consider for our level to be elite is very high. Of the 18 events that are in our sport, we have 6 girls right now ranked first place. I mean, three girls who have 6 first place rankings.
Wow.
So like Hannah Hendricks is one of our junior athletes. She does pole vault, 4x1, the 4x2, and long jump. And she's ranked right now first in pole vault. Looking forward to her to get over 9 feet this year. I think our goal was 9.6 is what we're trying to get. Right now we're at 8.6, and that's first place in the state right now. And then we have multiple sport standout athlete Jada Jordan, who is currently ranked first in the shot put and discus. And I think Jada has a chance to be like the top discus thrower in the whole state, not just our division of the high school, but of every high school in the state of Georgia. She potentially may have the best mark in the whole state of Georgia, and that's what we're pushing for. Right now, she's at about 134 feet on throwing the disc, which is extremely good. We're looking to go 140, 145. So, and then we have Trinity, which is my daughter. She recently committed to Georgia Southern, and she's ranked first in long jump and triple jump, also in the 100, and she's top 3. Just say she's top 3 in the 100 and 200. So that's 4 events. And the way it works, so for each first place that you get, now the athletes have to perform. This is all forecasting. But I think they're going to perform. I believe in them, and I know they believe in themselves, and they're confident. For each first place champion that you have, that's 10 points. Last year, or in the previous years, 59 to 60 points won state. We're sitting at 60 points off of 3 girls. I'm not counting any other events, just off of those 3 girls. This is why I say that I believe we have a great chance to go make history in a small town like Claxton. Nobody's thinking about us, going
And
to
has
do
this
that.
ever been done before? Has a track team ever come back with that many victors or a whole team's state championship ring before? Do you know that information?
I don't believe the girls have had a team that won state, like as a whole, as like the representation of like Claxton High School winning state for the state of Georgia. They may have had like events that they won state in. Like last year, Jada won state in the discus throw, but we came in 8th place in the state as a team. But she won state as an individual. That goes back to me saying like this is the one sport that where it's kind of about you. So she took care of her business and she won state last year in disc. But this year we're gonna have individuals who win state, but also the team who travels with us and those individuals who work hard and make it to state, they will get to be celebrated as contributing to the whole team being state champions. So it's a little bit different than saying I was a state champion versus we were considered to be state champions. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to as part of my legacy here at Claxton.
So you mentioned a lot about the girls.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about the boys? How are the boys performing this year?
All right, boys, this is probably the most boys I've had participate in a while. I think we got 24 guys competing this year. But we don't have what I would consider many elite. We do have a bunch of boys that work hard. So like our relay teams, the 4x1, the 4x8, the 4x2, they have a good chance of making it to state. Last year, our boys team, we did lose a senior, which was a good senior, Tyrone. He went to college. The time that they ran last year, they would have actually won state with that time this year. Now, you lose somebody, you got to try to find someone to replace them, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out right now. Our best time this year has been a 43. It's going to take like a 42 seconds time to run and win state. Do I think they're capable of that? I do. It just depends on how quickly can I get them to peak performance, because we only have like, less than 30 days before state. So.
And what's the date of state, just in case anybody wants to know?
State will be May the 9th and 10th in Albany, Georgia. We moved back to Albany, Georgia this year. But I'm really excited. I think that they can place in the top 5. I think our guys, 4x1 team, can place in the top 5. I think the 4x8 team, I think they can make the top 8. And I'm gonna say top 8, you have to think that you're top 8 in all of state in that division.
Right.
So you going to state and having that experience, if you Finish in the top 8, you get a medal, you get on the podium, so they get that recognition. So just making the podium is something that I preach. Like, okay, it's cool that we make the bus and we make the trip, but to make the best of the moment is to do your best to try to make the podium, because you get to hear the announcer call out your name, call out the school's name, and all of that work that you've been putting in since January just kind of culminates into the moment of, you being recognized in that way. So I think of those 23 guys, we'll probably have about 40% of those guys that'll go on to state. It's a very upper class group of juniors and seniors, so they've been there before, so they kind of know what they need to do to perform well. It's just going to be much tougher.
Right.
I don't know how many we'll have in individual events. I think Jarrell Hargret will make it in the 300 hurdles. It's going to be tough for him to make that podium, because he's going to be running 41. He's about 42-ish, 43-ish right now. I think he's capable, but it just all comes down to timing. Is he going to be at peak performance? Track is kind of all about timing. You don't want to peak too early, and you don't want to peak too late, because if you peak too late, the season's over. Unfortunately, high school track ends in May. Track season doesn't end in May, but for high school, it ends in May. So I'm really looking forward to what those guys are going to do. We have some throwers that I'm excited about their growth. They've been with me for all 3 years, and to see them come from being the ones who are always kind of at the bottom of the statistics competing wise, and now them having a chance to kind of be at the top. I'm really excited about that with Ezra Davis and Cedric Bell, or CJ as we call him. Both of those guys have a chance to make it, and that'll be the first time for me having guys make it in those events. So
wow.
Not at Claxton, but for me as a coach, that'll be my first time having guys make it in those shot and disc events.
So you talk a lot about state, and I hear you bring up that it all has to do with elite players. So what do you have to say about regions? I see you talking about regions a lot. You don't really mention that. So why don't you talk about regions? Do you not think that there's a chance at regions? And if that's the case, how do you not go and win regions but think that the team can go and win state?
All right, that's a great question. I think we have a chance at region. I'm not saying that we won't win region. But there's going to be like 8 teams competing at region. Mm-hmm. And so if a team may have, like, let's say like our girls team, let's say we have 14 girls. Another team has 30 girls or 25 girls. So they're able to potentially put more athletes in events than I am. So just off of pure numbers game, they're going to end up getting more points, even though my kids are coming in first place.
So it's all got to do with the number game.
It's a numbers game.
Gotcha.
Whereas those kids who may be coming in 5th place and maybe even 2nd place, in some cases or 3rd place, they may not even advance to state. They may not even advance past region. But all my girls are going to advance past region. And they're going to also advance past sectionals. Whereas some teams that have more athletes than me, their girls are going to be getting cut off as they go against more elite competition. So they don't have a chance to have representation at state, whereas 70% of my girls are going to be representing Claxton at state. And it just comes down to numbers. We have a chance for sure, but it can also get drowned out by a team that's like Metter, who usually has more girls than we have. It's going to be closer this year, though, for sure.
So everyone gets to go to region, but not everybody gets to go to state. And that's where Claxton has the advantage, because Claxton has more elite players. Is that what you're saying?
In order to advance through what the GHSA considers to be their state playoff rounds, because track is a little bit different. It goes region, sectionals, state. You have to finish in the top 4 of whatever event you're competing in at region. And then from region, you have to be top 8 at sectionals. And then when you get to state, obviously you have to be top 8 to make that podium. So region, top 4 moves on to sectionals, and from sectionals, the top 8 moves on to state.
So I know you mentioned legacy earlier. So with all of this happening, you think you're going to go and you're going to win state. I know you also coach football for Claxton. What kind of legacy do you want to bring to Claxton in the next couple of years?
Well, it's important to know that, as I was saying about elite athletes, and as a coach, you have times where you're up and times where you're down. I just think that I have a chance, based upon the situation and the timing of the season we're in right now, to do something that may not be done, in the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And I preach this to the athletes as well, that to say that you've done something that hasn't been done before, or either may not be done for however long, right? Usually in places like this, it doesn't come very often. So just having that example of having athletes these group of athletes have stayed with me, they didn't quit and come back, they've stuck it out for these 4 years. So I think that's a legacy moment to show that if you stay with something and you work hard and you put the time in, that when it's all said and done, the legacy that you leave will speak for itself. And, I've been here since 2018. I've said no to a lot of things, and that all was about timing as well. And, there's no time like today. There's no time like now. And if I believe that I and the team I'm coaching has a chance to go do something that may not be done again or for a long period of time, then we're going to go all out for it.
So you mentioned a lot about legacy in the present, but my question was about the future.
Okay.
So what does the future legacy have for you?
Well, my future, immediate future right now is Claxton, but I think this may be, I'm for sure this is probably going to be my last ride here at Claxton, so it is going to be important that I kind of do what I believe that we're capable of doing. The future for me, it won't be at Claxton in the immediate future. I'm not saying that, life may not bring me back around to this place, but I'm definitely going to be moving on to a new experience, a new opportunity. As I said, I've said no to a lot of different other opportunities in the past, and that was just based off timing. And times have changed, things are changing around here, and I'm really looking forward to, my career, like advancing, just taking it up a level. Not saying that I couldn't have done that here, but just the situation, just changed.
So in other words, you want to go out in this season with a bang, go bring home state championship, and then move on to a greater experience for you, possibly for the better of your family.
Yeah, I definitely want to go out with a bang. Not saying that I don't try to do that every year, but this year is a perfect opportunity to do it. And I definitely think the opportunity that I do have in front of me is a great opportunity to go, advance my career, as well as invest into, a different group of kids who are just, maybe looking for a spark. And I believe I'm going to be that spark once I get to this place. And I'm just excited about everything that's kind of happening in my life right now. It's, I went from this place as a coach from being optimistic to like I'm starving, I'm hungry again. Like it's a new type of drive kind of that I'm in right now, over the past few years, I've had to hold out and be optimistic about things, When reality may show you one thing, as a coach, you always have to be, optimistic about, and realistic. I'm a realist too, but I don't allow the realism to stop me from believing in what working hard can do and will do. So I'm really hungry right now, to be honest with you. Like, not saying I don't feel like I have to prove myself to anybody, but it feels good to be in a place again where you're hungry. And this hunger, sometimes the team kind of feels it because my patience is a little different, because you're not dealing with the optimistic Coach O, just the motivator Coach O. You're dealing with Coach O who wants it right now. Like we gotta get it now, because now is the only time that we have. And this is, I live like that anyway, but when you're dealing with, how can I put this, developmental stage, because there are phases of coaching. I'm always in the development stage, but there's phases where you're just dealing with a team that's going through development, or you're building them. Well, this group is built. You know, all the brick, the hard work, you know, it's been laid over these last 3 years, and it's time to get it, and I want it now, and I think they kind of know that.
So throughout this whole conversation, from talking about how you think the team's going to win to talking about you moving on, you've said one word over and over again, the word time.
Yeah.
So what does the word time mean to you?
Time is everything. I don't believe in like perfect timing, but there is timing that calls for us to respond and or timing that kind of breathes new life into you. Timing where you have to think about what's the best decision to make. So I think time is important, and it's a part of winning. So there's a quote or a motto I took from reading Lou Holtz's biography. It's called "Win," and it kind of correlates around time. And his idea of win meant always understanding what's important now. So time is what's important. So whether that be family, whether that be coaching, whether that may be me doing music. Like I think about before COVID, how my music career was going, and timing kind of crushed that a little bit, and we're working to kind of rejuvenate that in a way. But when I say timing, it was just because my kids were getting older, and I wanted to be like very present in their life. So timing calls for me to kind of put some of my desires to the side and focus on what's important now, family, right? So I put a lot of certain desires to the side because it would be kind of selfish. And that's one thing I try not to be, but sometimes you do have to care for yourself and be a little bit
absolutely.
selfish. You can't just be selfless all the time where you don't consider, you know, what's right for you in this time, you know. And I've made decisions a lot in the past based upon others, not for myself as well, but more considering the effects on others more so than the effect on me. And I think that's just the servant heart that I may have in trying to weigh that with certain decisions that you have to make, right, in life. So yeah, time is what's important.
So you mentioned music. So you have a music career. Would you like to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, funny how my music career started. I got saved right before college, and I wanted to kind of clean up some of the stuff I was listening to. So I started, you know, writing raps and doing raps myself, and kind of more of a hobby or journaling per se. And it turned into this real thing. And I started doing music in 2012 or 2012. And, you know, I've been doing it ever since. And in 2019, it really got real serious for me. I went solo. And everybody kind of knows me as KriZe now. They even call me Coach KriZe now, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and brand that. I'm gonna move from Coach O to Coach KriZe. But music is something that rapping in general is something that I feel like I'm a product of that. Growing up, listening to all the different rap music. And now I think it's a way too to build relationships with people in another way, as well as connect with people in another way. And that's kind of the spiritual side of me. That's one of my ministries, rap. Whether I'm good at it or not, I don't really think about that much, but you know, some say I am, some say I'm not. But
It's fair. You're always going to have those critics.
Yeah.
So would you say that the next chapter for you, in a way, would be becoming Coach KriZe? Moving on from this Coach O and stepping into this new Coach KriZe,
Yeah.
I guess you would say persona in a way,
Yeah.
and moving on to something new in your life.
I think, yeah, going back to timing, right?
Right.
I think now is time for me to bring everything under one house, because I am Coach O, I am Christopher Oglesby, I am KriZe, and I think that brand people know that brand now, and I'm gonna embrace just Coach KriZe. I'm gonna embrace that. You probably even hear some of the kids calling me that sometimes. Not everybody, but the ones who kind of know, that's what they do. And I think it'd be easy kind of to merge just my life, and instead of doing all these things separately, just kind of bringing it to just be the whole of me, because I am KriZe. I don't want to just be KriZe when I'm rapping, right? I want to be that person across the board, you know. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward and working on right now, how to rebrand myself, not just as an artist, not just as a coach, not just as a teacher, but just the whole person.
Well, I appreciate you, Coach KriZe, for taking the time, meeting up with me today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, anybody, about track or anything else?
Nah, y'all just be on the lookout for Claxton High School state champs.
All right, I hope you guys win.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Nice interview.
All right.